In today's video, I'm gonna do something that nobody else in this space is willing to or likely has done yet. And that is break down an entire profit and loss statement from October of 2024, in a month where we did about just shy of $250,000 in revenue. And I'm gonna show you exactly where every dollar was spent and exactly how much profit we came home with. Now, in addition to this, I'm gonna show you why our business is more profitable than most businesses doing $500,000 plus per month, and exactly what accounting system we use so that you can just copy our process and make sure that your business runs on the same margins. When we're done that, I'm actually gonna walk you through our profit and loss and our books and show you how that accounting system plays out in real time. Now, before we get into this, I wanna tell you a bit of a story. Last Friday, as in a few days ago, today is currently Sunday, I was out with my business partner, our head of delivery, my business partner's girlfriend, two of our best case study clients, and a really close friend of mine and his girlfriend. And fast forward a few hours, we had had a bit of food and also quite a few drinks in us. Things were starting to get competitive, to the point where revenue numbers were starting to be brought up, profit was starting to be brought up, and the boys were having a little bit of a back and forth. All healthy, of course, pushing each other to be better. And I asked my friend, I said, hey, how much are you doing top line? How much did you do last month? He proudly said $650,000. And my jaw hit the table. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, we have a lot of work to do. There is so much that needs to happen so that we can catch up to my friend. And then I posed the question, how much did you actually clear of that? Like, what was your profit on that? He said, well, last month was a little bit challenging, but this next month, we'll clear about $120. And in case you don't know what $120 is, it's $120,000. Now, a $650,000 a month business doing $120,000 in profit sounds like a good deal. Now, what if I told you our business, which did just shy of $250,000 in October of 2024, and transparently that was one of our best months of the year, was able to come home and clear profit just north of $100,000. And this is one of the things that I want you to take away from this video, if anything at all. If not the accounting systems, if not the cash management systems, it's this. It's that so many people online will say things like, I'm making $1 million a month, I'm making $500,000 a month, and it's just so much BS. Because I don't care what you're doing top line, what I care about is what you're clearing, what's your profit? Because that's how businesses are valued. Businesses are valued based on EBITDA. They're not valued based on top line. And so our business doing $250K a month is just as valuable as a grouping of businesses doing $650,000 a month from an EBITDA perspective. Maybe they have different multiples depending on the industries they work in. But which of those two would you rather build and work on? The business that is doing $250K a month at a 40 to 60% margin month over month, where you can get in the trenches, know each one of your clients individually, build great relationships, have amazing case studies, be able to sleep well at night, and come home with amazing profit margins. Or the business that's doing $650K a month at the same profit margin, maybe a little bit more, but instead of running one business, you're running 2, 3, maybe even 4, or maybe you are running one, but you have 40, 50, 60 team members, massive credit card bills every month because you're spending on ads to support that top line, and you're having trouble sleeping at night. I know the answer for me. Now, not to slight my friend, he's a genius. I love the guy. He's doing very, very well for himself. It's a single partner business and he's killing it. But I just want to highlight the fact that there are so many people out there that will talk about top line numbers and not tell you what the real thing that matters in business is, which is their profit. Because maybe they also have 5 partners. You never know. Now, without further ado, I want to hop into things. I want to pull up my screen, and I'm going to walk you through first, before we get into the profit and loss, which I know is what you're here to see, the exact cash accounting method we use to maintain these margins so that you can just copy us and make sure that your business is running just as profitably as ours. And then we'll get into the books. All right, so if you've ever seen the book Profit First, this is what we're going to talk about today. And if you have, you can watch through, if not, skip forward. But this book changed the way that we run our business for the better. And it's the reason why we're able to run on such high margins. Profit First basically states that standard accounting, right, will function with this formula. Profit equals revenue minus expenses. Which basically says when I get my money in, I'm going to spend on the things I need to spend on, and whatever's left over is my profit. But if we just flip this around and we change this equation to expenses equals revenue minus profit, we end with a much more sustainable formula for building a high margin business. What this means is when I get $1 in to my business, the first thing I do is I take my profit out. I make sure that I get paid first. And then I make sure that whatever we have left is able to cover our expenses. What this forces you to do is think a little bit more aggressively. It forces you to find ways to make your business more efficient. It forces you to create better systems. And it forces you to make better ads and better services because you only have so much money to play with. And so this is how we run our business. Profit first. And the easy way to do this is you can break your accounting down into a few key buckets. The first one is OPEX, operational expenses. Everything that goes into OPEX is going to be the things required to run your business. Your ad spend, your team costs, whether you're paying employees or subcontractors, your software expenses, your meals, entertainment, all the things that you do with your clients potentially. Anything you need to run your business, you put into your OPEX. Then we have our owner's comp. I'll just put this as OC because I'm slow at writing. This is going to be the money that you pay out to yourself and whatever other partners you have in your business. You don't have to empty the account every month, right? Or you can, it's up to you. But this is where you're going to pay yourselves from on a month-to-month basis. The next account you're going to open up is a profit account. I'm going to write this one out because this is important. The profit account is something where you put money in every month. It's also money that's going to be paid out to you and your partners on a dividend basis, but you don't pay yourselves out until the end of each quarter. And at the end of each quarter, you don't empty the account. You divide it in half, and then you pay out whatever the product of that equation is, and you pay it out proportional to the equity that you have in the company if you have partners, or if it's just you, you pay it out to yourself. What this allows you to do is, I know you're probably thinking, I want to pay that all out to myself right away, is it just means that even if you have a bad month, not only do you have a nest egg in your business to take care of things if push comes to shove, which means that you're not one bad month away from shutting things down, but also means that you can still get paid, right? Because one month you might have to take this owner's comp and roll it all back into OPEX just to keep the lights on, and that's okay. But you're going to have a surplus left in this profit account to keep your ass covered. The last account you're going to open is the one that we all hate. It's a tax account. Now, I just recommend putting 15% of all cash that comes into this account. Want to know why? You're probably going to say, well, tax is more than 15% of my state. Remember, businesses are taxed after expense. You should have enough in here to not only cover your business taxes, but also a good portion of your personal taxes and whatever pension plan contributions you have to make if you're paying yourself out as an employee. So 15% for tax. What we like to do for profit is, wow, terrible brackets. 10% for profit. For owner's comp, you could do 30 to 35%. I'll put 30 in here, just to be more on the heavy scaling side. And then OPEX is whatever's left over, which is going to be roughly 45%. Right? So if I got $100 into my business today, how would we split this up? I would put $45 in OPEX. I would put $30 into owner's comp. I would put $10 into profit, and I'd put $15 into the tax account. This will make sure that you can scale your business on good margins, not have to worry about having massive tax bills that you can't afford at the end of each year, which is something that I struggled with when I first started my business, and it took me years to catch up. Do not do this. Put your money in a tax account and use it to pay the government, because the taxes are things that you just have to pay. This is how you split your cash up. This means that I'm guaranteed running my business on a 55% margin. That's all it takes. You take what you have for OPEX out of the OPEX account, and you don't allow yourself to spend anything more. If you have to spend something more, it's coming out of your own paycheck. It's not coming out of the tax account. It's not coming out of the profit account. Do not give yourself that ability. So this is the simple framework that we use to manage our accounting. And if you want to do this really easily, you can do it on Wise. You can set up a bunch of, I think they're called bucket accounts, but all your cash will come in from your payment processor to your main Wise account, and then you can create these sub-accounts or bucket accounts inside of Wise. And so every time you get a $100 deposit into your account, you're going to go ahead and just distribute that $100 to all your other 5 accounts. And to make it really easy for myself, I actually put the percentage of cash that we should be allocating to each account in the name of the bucket account. So that even if I wasn't doing it, my partner could do it, a VA could do it, our accountant could do it, they know what's going on. And then you make sure that any expenses you have are being drawn out of that account. When you pay your employees, when you pay your credit card bills off, you pay it out of the OPEX account. When you pay yourself, you send it out of the owner's comp account. Very, very simple. If you're not on Wise, then you can just call your bank. Most banks will allow you to open multiple checking accounts. I prefer Wise because there's no fees. It's much cheaper, and I can also access my money anywhere in the world and pay for things with no limit tap cards. So if you have that opportunity, I would definitely do it. I think Mercury Bank is also another good one. But in short, open up 4 accounts in your bank, distribute the cash this way, and only let yourself use the allowance you make in your OPEX account to cover your running expenses. Now, with that out of the way, let's hop into what you've all come here for. Let's take a look at what we did in October 2023 when we did $234,003.22. Not a bad month, not an amazing month in terms of the grand scheme of things top line revenue wise. But as you can see here, cost of goods sold, this is for our subcontractors. So all of our service delivery team members, our sales team members, et cetera, we spent $44,069.66 on it, which means that our total gross profit, if we didn't spend money on anything else, would be $189,933.56. It's not a bad month. But where did we put the money once we paid our subcontractors? We'll work down from the top. The first thing was advertising and promotion. This is a necessary expense. This is where we get our traffic from. If we didn't spend on ads, we wouldn't have the revenue numbers that we have on this P&L. So $35,525 straight to Facebook. Zuckerberg is probably the person who profits most from our business, as he probably is for most of yours if you're watching this video. Bank charges, just processing fees. This is actually all from Wise. If you're working on a traditional bank, this will probably be a lot more than $1,300, but things start to stack up, right? Processing fees, bank charges, transfer fees, and that's why we use Wise and not a traditional bank. Interest expenses, I think we have like an operating line of credit as well as some small credit cards. This is pretty small, $91. Meals and entertainment. These are the dinners that I'm talking about. We also cook meals for everybody in our office. And so this is our chef and our cleaners paying for food for people in our office, us going out for drinks on Fridays, going to meetings, whatnot. $5,600 for the month. Office and general admin expenses and professional fees, right? So these are things, this is our accountant. He does our books every month, does our end of year reports, make sure that we can actually see this. If you have an opportunity to, I definitely recommend having a bookkeeper and an accountant that you can get on a call with when you're trying to make decisions, but also one that can just send you monthly reports like this so that at the end of each month, you actually know what your business is doing. Because I can't tell you how many people think they run 0% margin businesses, but they actually run 20 or 30% margin businesses. And the reasons why they think it's 0% is because they don't understand how accrual accounting works. They're just looking at the cash in their account. Office and general administrative expenses, $1,000. I actually don't know what this is. I'll probably figure that out. I can click into this in QuickBooks and see. But anyway, $1,700. R&D expenses, $100. I think this is for one of our clients or portfolio companies. Selling expenses. Guess what that is? That's a payment processor. $6,785.70. We use Fanbasis. The reason why is because Stripe doesn't like service providers that have any relation to coaching or info, and we do have free course material, and we do also have daily group masterminds with myself and my business partner where we answer open Q&As. And so Stripe shut us down because of that. We work on Fanbasis. Our chargeback refund rate, by the way, is about 0.25%. So if you want to shit on me for that and tell me that's why Stripe shut down, you can go back to your cave that you came from. Software subscriptions, another big one, $8,251. These are big ones. These are things like Fathom, which we do all of our call recording on for quality control and monitoring, both for our sales team and our fulfillment team. Other big expenses here would be things like Airtable, which is where we house all of our data in our central company database so that we can make data-backed, informed decisions on both our advertising and on our customer service and on our sales. Things like Hyros, which is $1,000 a month. If you want to run an efficient business, you're going to have to spend on the right things to make the right decisions. And so we spend for data so that we can make profit. Don't be afraid to cut corners here. Travel expenses. I took my girlfriend out on the business card down to Seattle. We spent a few days hanging out at the Fairmont, went to a couple nice restaurants, went to a jazz club. These are things that you can do when you make $250K a month. And this is also not included in our net profit. Uncategorized expenses, I believe these are actually our Amex cards. For some reason, they were put in here. There are a couple extra credit card expenses, but $15K in uncategorized expenses. Utilities, I'm actually not sure what this is either because we don't pay for utilities. It might be the Wi-Fi bill in our office. Again, I can click in and check. And this is the stupidest expense on our balance sheet. And I can tell you right now that I'm getting rid of it. This vehicle expense is my car. And embarrassingly, I spent $4,700 a month on a lease for an R8. Probably seen this online. I love cars. I love driving them fast. When I got this a year ago, it was one of the best returns on investment I could have had. You have a shit day, hop in a screaming, naturally aspirated V10, go drive around town for a little bit, you'll have a smile on your face. I don't really feel like I need it anymore. I'd rather spend that money doing things like traveling or reinvesting back into ads. So we're actually in the process of selling that car. If you want to pick it up, $220 Canadian is the current offer that we have for the car. So you can actually expense your car on your business. Depending on where you're at, it can be more or less. Usually leases are easier to expense. That's why we have this one leased and not purchased. Fuel expenses for things like meetings and insurance, parking and repairs and maintenance. Ironically, this car just has so many repair and maintenance costs. I guess when you spend money, you have to spend more money usually. So total vehicle expenses for the month come out to about $6,500. That's the true cost of owning an Audi R8 V10 Plus. There you go. So total expenses for the month come in at about $88,886.32. So subtracting 88K from 189 brings us to just north of $100,000 in profit. Right? We don't do any FX or other expenses, so we're coming in at about $101,047.22 in total profit after all expenses inside of our business. And that is to be split up between myself and my partner. Now, if you notice, we are a little bit over the line when it comes to our budget. If you went back to here, right, allocating 45% to OPEX, we should be running at a 55% margin. We brought in $234,000 in the month, and we only profited $100, which means that we were a little bit less than 50%. And that's because we doubled down on ads this month, and every month after that we did as well. We spent $35,000 on ads. Most of you guys probably don't spend $35 on ads, and some of you probably spend way more than me and are laughing right now. Now, if you're doing this, you have to take money out of the one account that you benefit most from, which is the owner's comp. So we did that. We paid ourselves a little bit less this month, but still nonetheless, we had a bigger profit month than some businesses doing $500,000 or more. So all in all, here is our balance sheet. You can hold me accountable to that. This was completed by our accountant. It's on our end of year tax return for our company. And that's all there is to say. Hopefully I was able to provide you as much value as possible in today's video. I hope that you now understand what it takes to run a business that does $230,000 to $250,000 a month at a 40 to 50% margin or greater. And I hope that if there's anything you took away from this, it's to be so skeptical that it leaves no room for anyone else to be skeptical in your presence. Because in this space, there are so many people who run businesses that are talking about top-line numbers that seem astronomical and insurmountable, that do less profit than this business does here. And that is what truly values businesses, and that is why you're here in the first place. And remember, the reason I make these videos is so that you can learn from the things that are working for us and copy them and reach your dreams, goals, and aspirations faster, as well as avoid some of the hard lessons and mistakes that we've made so that you can get there faster as well. And so with that being said, if you have any questions about what we covered today, our accounting systems, about business, about life in general, if you drop your questions in the comments, I will answer them as fast as possible. And with that, I will see you in the next one.